Hi, it's Friday night and we're gonna bake with Grandma Josie. So here we are, we're gonna make some homemade biscuits, buttermilk biscuits. They're gonna be really good. It's my favorite homemade thing. Okay, so first we're gonna take 2 cups of flour. We're gonna swift it a little bit. Gonna kind of make it fluffy. And we're gonna take all-purpose flour. But if you have self-rising flour, you don't need to do these next steps. But if you just have all-purpose flour, you're gonna add one tablespoon of baking powder. Then you're gonna add 1 teaspoon baking soda. Then you're gonna take 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now, most recipes don't have sugar, but you know your grandma likes sugar. Okay, I'm gonna take 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You know grandma likes salt, so I always add 2. Well, it's just who I am. Okay, we're gonna sift it till it's really mixed. Okay, we're gonna set that aside for a second. Okay, now I made my powdered buttermilk in this cup before I started. So you're gonna follow the recipe just like it says on the container, or you can buy buttermilk, which if you're gonna buy buttermilk, you wanna buy whole buttermilk. You don't wanna just buy low fat or anything, because you want these to be really creamy. You want them to be really good. Then I'm going to tell you another thing. If you don't have buttermilk and you don't want to buy buttermilks because it's expensive, we can also just do regular whole milk and add some vinegar. Doesn't matter if it's apple cider vinegar or just plain vinegar. This is already buttermilk, so we're not going to need to do that. But we're going to set it aside for a minute because I want to put some vinegar in this. And I'm going to just pour some in, like maybe 1/3 cup, so that you can actually see what happens when you set it aside and it starts to curdle. Okay, we're gonna sift this a little bit longer. So, where I don't use a mixer for this, this is when I try to do all my mixing with my powder goods. Like I don't want to stir it too much after we get all of the milk in there. So right now we're gonna add 1/2 cup of butter, and it's going to be as cold as possible, frozen if you can. So what grandma does is I grate a stick of butter. So this is the easiest for me because I don't have a food processor. Now if I had a food processor, I would put 1/2 of the flour in a food processor and I'd mix it. But this, grandma just grades And so then it gets it already into some really small pieces. So I just scrape that off. Now this is something that you want an adult to do. You little kids can't do this by yourself. Now I'm sure my older grandkids can. But if you don't have a grater and you don't want to use that, and you don't want to use a food processor, Grandma has this pastry cutter, which I used to use all the time, but I pretty much don't use that anymore because I just grate my butter. So then I'm going to put this in my flour mixture. Make sure to get it all in there because this is the good stuff. This is the really yummy good stuff. All right, so we're gonna mix this, and you can kind of see this is already crumbly. We want this to look milly. Kind of looks like grainy flour. Just takes a few minutes if you grate it or if you put it in a food processor. But remember, if you're going to put it in the food processor, you're only going to use half your flour and your butter, put it in there, and then pulse it for like 2 or 3 times. Not a lot, because we want it to look milly. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try to get it close to the camera. So see, this is kind of milly. It's just a weird thing. So we want to have butter chunks. So it's light and fluffy. This butter is what makes it light and fluffy. And when you're doing this, if you feel chunks from any of your baking powder or your baking soda, if it's a little bit old, you can feel it at the same time. But I'm really not doing any more than just crumbling it in my hands. See that? So it's ready. So I'm going to make a little hole. I'm going to make a little hole inside my flour. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to pour it. See how that buttermilk is kind of clumpy? So that is clumpy. That's 1 cup of milk. Now, when we stir this, we don't want to stir it too much. So we're going to count to 15. So, like no more than 15. Try not to. So 1, 2, we're going to try folding it over. 3, see if I can show you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. See, it's kind of really liquidy. 14, 15. So we're going to leave it just like that. Now I want you to see it's really sticky. So we're going to try getting off all we can. We're done with this now. We're done with this. We're done with this. Try to clean this up. Now, I have a clean floured board. I don't want to put too much flour down, but I want to put enough flour so that it doesn't stick, because this is a really sticky dough. So if I need to put more flour down, I'm going to. So I put this on my rolling pin. Now, Grandpa Bound always had a bowl of flour, and he would take this out and form it himself into kind of like a little ball like this. if you ever watched him make sourdough biscuits. And this, he would form them himself, which I kind of thought was pretty clever, but my grandma, Clark, never did that. So this one, I'm kind of going to leave aside since I already patted it into place. So we're going to put this, on the flour. Now you're going to see it's really gooey, but this is just right. Now, people will say they can get 12 biscuits out of this. Now, I like my biscuits big, and I like them to be thick. So this isn't gonna give me 12 unless I double it. Okay, so we're gonna put flour back on top. We're gonna pat this like it's a baby's bottom. We're not gonna go too hard. And this flour on top right here is what's gonna make the layers inside the biscuits. So I'm gonna fold it. And make sure that there's enough flour on the bottom. Now I'm gonna bring it out here closer. Here we go again. We're gonna do this 5 times. So 1 already. We're gonna put more flour. Remember, this is what makes our layers. Pat it like a bottom, baby's bottom. Okay, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna bring it towards us, fold it. Ooh, I can already see those butter chunks. Ooh, it's so good. So I think we're on 3, right? So here we go, and I'm gonna turn it. That's what I like to do. I'm gonna fold it. Ooh, I can see all those butter chunks. Can't wait. It's my favorite. I like butter. Okay, this is gonna be our last time to fold. So we're gonna make sure that we have flour right here, because we're gonna roll this time. Now, I like to roll mine to where it only has like a 1/2 inch. See? So there's no way we're gonna get 12 out of this. I don't know where these people get 12 out of these biscuits. I like mine big. If you don't have a roll cutter or a biscuit cutter, you can use a small mason jar lid or a large one. Man, I'd really like large ones. Here we go. We're gonna cut them. We're gonna cut straight down. We're never going to, here's my pen. We're never going to go side to side. We're gonna go straight down and up. Straight down and up. If you want to put a little flour, if you don't like it to stick, I don't care if it sticks, because then I don't have to pull it out of the dough. Straight down and up. So you can kind of see it has that little crease right there. That's what we want. And if you go side to side, that's not going to happen. So straight down and up. Straight down and up. All right, so I got 6, plus I got this one that we made earlier. I'm gonna stick that in. All right, now this dough, you don't want to just grab it and keep mixing and mixing and mixing. So we're gonna just try to fold it over, pat like a baby's bottom. Pat like a baby's bottom. All right, now people will say these won't be as good, but I don't mind if they're folded a couple more times. So that is one more. Now we're going to have to fold it in and make another spot to make one more. It's kind of getting a little too thin. So if you want to push the sides back up like that, it makes it a little bit thicker again if you roll it out too much. So I'm going to do right in the center. See how that one's falling apart? I'm going to not worry too much about that because it's still a biscuit. I'm just going to make sure that I have that close to another biscuit when I'm doing it. All right, now this one is going to turn out just like Grandpa's. So it's going to be a silly little dummy, but it's all right. I kind of like to take the center, fold it in like this. So it kind of has a fresh top, but it gets really sticky. So we're gonna pat it a little bit. So this one is gonna be much smaller. Maybe not. It's looking pretty good. All right, now I'm gonna show you my pan here. I want them touching. I usually like my biscuits touching so that they can rise. The more they're touching, the higher they're gonna get. All right, now I like these to be in the center of the oven. So I'm gonna set them right in the center in the oven. We're gonna turn it on to 400 degrees for 15 minutes. And then, sorry, my nose is running, this flour. Then they're gonna come out. I'm gonna set the timer. Now, when they come out, they look like this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing, huh? Anyways, I like a lot of butter. You know that. We've had this talk. I'm gonna bring them over here. Put the camera back. Hope you can see them again. So here they are. I use parchment paper. Everybody knows that. But you can just lightly grease this pan if you don't have parchment paper. Now, this is very important. You want to use some oil if you grease your pan. You don't want to use your butter because your butter turns brown and then it's going to be this yucky brown stuff. So the only time you want to use butter, let me get this stick of butter. The only time you want to use butter is after they come out. Now, we're going to do this side. We're going to do the sides like this. I even do the bottom. This, ooh, they're a little bit warm. This is what makes them soft if you're going to keep them for a day. Now, I'm not going to keep them for a day because I'm going to eat 2 or 3, but then I'm going to put the rest in a bag and I'm going to freeze them. And then if I need to take them out and eat them out of my freezer, then, oh, look at that butter. Can you see all those layers? That looks amazing. So I'm going to keep continually doing this. Oh, look at those layers. So they're going to continue doing this. Let me pull one apart and show you how easy it comes apart. This is just comes open. You don't have to use a fork. You don't have to use a knife. These are amazing. Ooh, I can't wait to eat one. Just a minute, let me get some honey. I hit the pan. Anyways, I better use a napkin. I might make a mess. Well, we're gonna try this. Look at this, honey. If you want to put butter on it, you can, but it's freshly just come out of the oven. I think this is the best time. Yeah, I'd probably put butter, but since we're on the video and I'm hurrying to taste it because it's so yummy. Here we go, Grandma's gum. These are so soft and yummy. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's the best. I'm so glad that we're in the pandemic. So we have to stay home and cook, and Grandma's sharing this video with you. All right. So good. Can't stop eating it. All right. Grandma wants a video or pictures back after you try this recipe. Tell me how it goes. Okay. Thank you for watching. Happy Friday night.